If you're a young fan of Godzilla but need a kind of beginner way to draw him, you've come to the right place. This one has all the details he's famous for, but... Hello, my name's Kathy, and I've been teaching kids how to draw for more than 20 years now. You know, those Godzilla details may look a little complex, but I promise they're easier to do than you may think, especially if we work together. Let's get started. Here are the supplies we need to draw Godzilla: crayons, marker, pencil, and paper. There's also a step-by-step tutorial that you can download using the link below. Now, before I begin drawing, I really like to add center pencil guidelines on my paper. They're in my tutorial too, and help you see where to draw. Step number 1. You may not be able to see it right now, but this Godzilla drawing actually gets started with a tall oval right here. I'm making marks on my paper to show you how tall it is and where it is, and then I'm carefully connecting those marks with nice round lines. Notice that it is just to the left of the vertical line on the paper and sits in the middle of the horizontal one too. Try to draw it kind of lightly because we're going to erase some of that line in a few minutes. Step number 2. Godzilla's head shape gets attached to the top of the oval and leans a little bit to the left and has a big open mouth. Start near the top of the paper, draw a line down to the right that smoothly meets up with the oval. Go back up and draw to the left, down for the nose and that big wide mouth and the skinny chin shape underneath. Step number 3. This is fun, adding Godzilla's eye. It only takes a few lines to make it look pretty fierce. Start with a brow line, add a kind of U shape for the outside and a smaller one for the inside. A little edge line goes above it, and then a small bump shape for the eye that's on the other side of the head. Okay, a few small lines will now finish off the bottom of Godzilla's mouth. Start by adding a tongue shape, then a line to round out that chin, and a couple of pointy teeth, and a line to give that mouth a little more of an edge to it. Next, Godzilla needs some top teeth too. I'm adding a big tooth on the left and a row of zigzag teeth that go all the way into his mouth on the right. Step number 4. It's time to draw an arm, and we can do this one all at once. Start at the top with a line that comes down, makes about 4 points for the fingertips, and then goes back to that oval edge. Now go back and add lines to make those fingers look like they're a little longer, and add tiny little curves on each so it looks like he has claws. Now for the other arm, which has a little different shape to it. Place your pencil on the oval, draw a curved line down, add about 2 points for his fingers, 1 for his thumb, and then go back to the oval. Those fingers can get some lines added to them like we did before so they look longer, and the fingertips can get little curves so it looks like he has claws. Step number 5. Now it's time to draw Godzilla's long tail, which has a really graceful curve to it. Start by putting your pencil on the oval, draw a line that goes down and then up, and when you're almost to the edge of the paper, come back, follow the curve, and smoothly attach the tail to the bottom of the oval. Step number 6. Let's add one of Godzilla's legs now. It's kind of a fat shape with no ankles and just toes underneath. Start inside his body, draw a line down, add about 4 big points for those toes, and then come back up to finish the leg. We can go back and draw little curves on the toes to make those look like claws too, and also add lines to make those toes look a little bit longer. Now we're overdue for a little bit of erasing. Get rid of the lines inside this leg and also the oval lines inside the tail too. We want everything to look like it's one continuous shape. All right, the left leg can be added now, and it's kind of the same shape, it's just attached a little higher than the right one. Start on the oval, draw a line down, and add about 4 sharp toe shapes. Then go back up to connect to that oval. Add a couple of lines to make the toes look longer, like we did on the other foot. And then you can finish with some little curves so it looks like he has claws. Oh, you know what? There's one more line to erase here so we don't accidentally trace it. We want the body to look like it's smoothly attached to the head. Step number 7. Finally, it's time to draw Godzilla's famous spikes that go all down his back and tail. I'm going to start on his head and start drawing mine with a kind of letter M shape. Notice they do start out small and then they get bigger and taller on his back and then smaller on his tail. You do have to angle them a little bit to go around that curve, but they get pretty easy to add at the end. Step number 8. Well, a background would make this drawing a little more interesting, so I'm going to add a horizon line and then I think a simple city skyline that looks like buildings that are all connected. Feel free though to come up with your own ideas. You might have something that's a little more exciting than that. If you do decide to do a skyline like mine, don't forget to add some rectangles for windows. They don't have to be everywhere, just a few will do the job. Alright, I'd say this drawing is all done, so it's time to trace everything with a black marker. Don't rush though, we've got a lot of details in this drawing. And while that black marker is out, we can use them to fill in those windows to make them really black. Now is the time when I always recommend erasing pencil lines before we go any further. It really does make our drawing look neater. And those of you with eagle eyes might notice I missed a line here, but not to worry, I took care of it in the end. Okay, time to bring out those crayons. I think we all agree that Godzilla needs to be green, and I think I found a good color for that. I'd like the spikes on his back to look kind of similar, but still look a little different. So I'm going to use that same green crayon and just color a little bit lighter with it. The same is true for those claws. I'm using the same green crayon and just not pressing so hard. Godzilla's tongue is going to be pink and his eye a bright red. I've decided to make the ground kind of like dirt, so I'm coloring it brown. That city skyline is purple, so it's dark, but still has a little bit of color to it. And then, so the drawing doesn't get too dark, I'm going to use that light blue for the sky. And there is my finished Godzilla drawing. Oops. Okay, that's more like it. I hope you like how yours turned out too. At Art Projects for Kids, you'll find hundreds more art lessons, including fun movie characters like Baby Yoda, Spider-Man, and SpongeBob. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you come back and draw with me again real soon.